This one's going to be actually a 3 versus 3 battle, and so my opponents, this one's going to be actually a 3 versus 3 battle, and so my opponents, I'm gonna list them first here, are Veritas as Parthia, Disin Dias Palm, something like that, as Parthia as well, and Black Flag Rebellion as the Iceni. And then I will be playing as the Seleucids, my ally Spangle will be the Swaby, and Superman guy the Massagetes. And that is why our two opponents picked Parthia to hopefully counter some of the cavalry that the Massagetes can field. And one quick thing about this battle, both of my allies, it's like pretty much their first time playing, so a lot of this battle was me directing all three of our armies, just kind of telling them what to do, because rather than learning some of the game, we decided just to jump right in. I've, as I said in some other recent videos, gotten a lot of friends recently to get into Rome too, so they're learning the ropes of multiplayer. You can see this is a relatively flat map for the purpose of the Massagetes being a nomadic faction, only having cavalry to bring. And we'll take a look at the actual map here in just a second. There we go. Okay, I don't know why that took so long. But some of you guys may have been wondering why I was being silent there, and that's because I'm using Shadowplay to record. Could use Fraps, but Shadowplay's files are smaller. Yet, the one thing that definitely is apparent is right now there's a glitch with it. At the end of loading screens in Rome, it kind of glitches out the audio. You guys might have noticed that in like my last 2 or 3 multiplayer battles there. But my army, I have 5 Eastern Slingers up front as skirmishing, 1 Thorax Pikeman, and 4 Pikemen units. Then I've got 2 Thorough Spears on either flank, and a Silver Shield Swordsman. This is my only sword unit here, and those spears on the flank I wasn't originally going to bring, but just because we were facing Parthia, there might have been a lot of cav, and I wanted a more maneuverable unit. For my cavalry, I've got a Hellenic Cataphract here. There those guys go, and I believe I have 2 of them. And then this, again, my cavalry. And there they are. They're not quite as strong as the Hellenic Cataphracts, but they are quite a powerful shot cavalry unit. And then Superman guy here with the Massagetes has got a ton of these Saka Cataphracts. I think he had like 5 or 6 total. And there's 3 of them right here. Those guys are one of the strongest. They might actually be the strongest Cataphract unit in the game. He's got a ton of Stephen Noble Lancers. And his only skirmishing is the 3 armored horse archers. 4, actually. And you would think with a nomadic faction you'd want to bring more skirmishing, but when we designed these armies, and Swaby here, aside from the general unit of noble riders, did not actually bring any cavalry whatsoever. And I brought a little bit of cavalry just because both of our opponents were playing as Parthia. But originally I wasn't going to either. He was just going to kind of act as the cavalry forces for both of us while we brought some more infantry. But over here, again, more Stephen Noble Lancers and 2 more Saka Cataphracts. And then the Swaby over here in these trees has got 4 Berserker units. He's got some Germanic Slingers, 3 of them. A Swordmaster, and then 2 of these Wodanan Spears. And then the key thing is way off on his flank. Just for fun, some Night Hunters sneaking around over here, since they can deploy anywhere and stay relatively hidden. So he's got 5 of them. Now, if you look at the map here, we're definitely pushing more on the left flank, and that's where my army's going, and we're going to try to get around behind these guys' left flank. The key thing there is they did bring a ton of skirmishing, which was smart against Nomadic faction if the Nomadic faction was going to skirmish, which he ended up not doing. But this Parthian player's got 2 elite Persian archers, 4 Eastern Slingers. The Iceni's got 4 Briton Skirmishers. There's more Eastern Slingers in here. It looks like 4 more of them. And our opponents, for their cores, did almost completely Hoplites. And once again, this is a good unit to use against Nomadic faction, but it's almost as if they prepared solely to fight the Massagetes there. And so they have no real units. Right here, there's 2 Parthian swordsmen, but basically these 2 players have nothing really to counter infantry all that well. Britain here does, however. They've got a ton of these painted ones. These lovely guys right in here, running across the screen there. And he's got, yeah, I think I said 5 of them, and you can see these guys are heavily upgraded. Look at all the those little flags there on them are upgrades. They're heroic nobles. Their main unit here also heavily upgraded, so he went for a very elite army. I don't think he even had any cavalry. That's just one extremely powerful sword force there. And right now my Eastern Slingers are over here skirmishing. So far we've gotten the upper hand in the skirmish. I'm going to start taking some losses here though. You can see I'm falling back and straightening out my line. Just because the amount of skirmishers coming in, it's inevitable that I'm going to lose some guys. And the armored horse archers are coming over to help out. And over here you can see these night hunters creeping into these trees. I've got my cavalry up front. Parthia here has 2 royal cataphracts. Those guys are very dangerous. And some noble blood cavalry. 3 of them. So I'm falling back for a second, but in a little bit here. The cavalry engagement is going to start, and we are going to engage this cavalry with all of our cataphracts, and then my Agema cavalry. Steppe Noble Lancers in there too, but this is going to be just a cataphract slugfest in here with these royal cataphracts, and more are going to end up coming to support. There's some mercenary Sarmatian horse archers here. And here goes the cavalry charge. So you can see initially I was trying to run away from it, see if my opponent would draw back. It does not look like that's going to happen. So we'll take a look from one of my units here. There goes those guys. Probably a bad unit to fight the Hellenic cataphracts head on. That was my Agema cavalry, but over here we're immediately getting some surrounding going on, and Parthia is going to answer with even more noble cavalry. Noble blood cav that was hidden in the trees. Over here also I've got a Hellenic cataphract coming around behind on these royal cataphracts, and that charge is going to do some damage there. But this is just going to turn into a massive cavalry slugfest there, just a grind battle. Meanwhile, we've got this skirmishing going on. The horse archers taking a few losses, but overall our skirmishers are getting the upper hand here. And over here Britain made a mistake. They kind of pushed forward all alone. Had they waited for our armies to get engaged, these swords could have been deadly. But their skirmishers are out here, and they're just going to be completely chewed up by the Suebi skirmishers here, and this Saka cataphract and noble lancer that came out and got them. No support anywhere nearby, and even then, he didn't have any spear units. So that is effectively the end of Britain's ability to skirmish there. I'm saying Britain because these are Britain skirmishers, but it is the Iceni. You can see these guys trying to run away here back into the trees, all painted up. And over here, this skirmish coming to an end. Parthia did have a lot of skirmishing though, so I am left now with just 2 skirmish units. The help of these Steppe horse archers playing a big part in that. Now over here you can see this cavalry fight. Somehow my cav survived that there. They're going to start moving. The Night Hunter unit, one of them has come into the battle. That's going to help quite a bit. And now with these guys rejoining the fight, it's just the power of the Nomadic cavalry kind of overwhelming here. Of course, my Hellenic cataphracts are both in here as well. And that's just going to be too much for the Noble Blood Cav, and there wasn't enough Royal cataphracts to really make a difference in this fight. So you can see this horde of cavalry. There's quite a field of dead horses and men all through here. And here comes another fresh unit of Royal cataphracts. I don't know if I would have done that at this point. He's clear. I mean, he's taking out my Agama cavalry there, but at this point they've got so much against them. I don't know if I would have thrown in 2 fresh units of Royal cataphracts there. Sure, they're going to do some damage, but they don't have a chance to win, especially with these one-man spears in there. They are bringing over some skirmishing and some mercenary hoplites, though, so it's going to get interesting there. Over here on the front, you can see those are actually mostly my dead skirmishers there, but for a second here, these mercenary hoplites charged into my pikes, realized that was a bad idea. They're going to withdraw. And over here, I've got 1 pike unit took out another hoplite with my throw spears and the help of these Hellenic cataphracts, which did a hammer and anvil. And I'm gonna get these guys over here and see if I can help in this fight at all. You can see those Royal cataphracts still haven't taken many losses. This one has here. They're down to half strength, but that general unit of them is still at over 50 men in there. They're just outnumbered. But now, of course, these mercenary hoplites are coming in to support. So I am sending in a thorough spears, and these guys are actually a pretty good unit. They're not incredible, but in a cavalry fight, they're nothing to shy away from. And back here, you can see once again we're pressing the front. The Swabies come out of the woods now. They're going to start moving forward, and this whole time, you have to remember once again that both of my allies have not played before. So both of them have played like 1 battle before. And so I was really kind of the whole time going over this whole battlefield. That's why otherwise I would have pushed a little sooner and, you know, not let things like this go on with my men just kind of being in a bad position taking fire. Because the whole time I was directing Superman like, hey, bring more cav over into this fight, pull out over there. Swaby saying, you know, go ahead and move forward, telling when to skirmish and stuff. And it was actually kind of fun commanding 3 armies there. But here you can see these Night Hunters along with my thorough spears. Once again, these Night Hunters are a slightly better unit statistically than these Mercenary Hoplites, but the Mercenary Hoplites have more armor and health, so they'll actually, I think they will last out in that fight and win there. But just the fact of being surrounded here with my thorough spears on the other side, which do have some armor on them, is going to rout these guys. So that's going to be the end of that. You can see the Massagetate cavalry here. These Saka cataphracts very beat up, but we did last through that fight. And of course, there's some more Stepping Noble Lancers on the way. And there are fresh cataphract units in the trees here. And right here, another unit of fresh Saka cataphracts. So there is still some cavalry force in our hands on this battlefield. And now you can see I'm going to start pressing forward a little bit. My skirmishers using what's left of their ammo here on these guys back here. They're going to lose this fight though. There's just too many enemy skirmishers. And these guys are going to start moving in. And this is where things are going to get kind of interesting. So these Night Hunters are now close up and in this fight. The only problem is they are going against these heavily upgraded painted ones in here. And this guy is going to be smart and avoid my pikes and head for these Night Hunters instead. You can see they're going to get charged on the flank in here. And there goes all that ruckus. So you can see these guys duking it out in the trees here. For the most part, these guys are just going to be cut down and that is the Night Hunters. That is not the painted ones. Those guys are a very effective unit in this kind of fight here. That guy getting mercilessly stabbed there. So you can see I'm moving in some pikes. These guys here, though, aren't that great at attacking. They don't move forward that much, but they are getting some kills there. I'm going to pause for a second to stop this Skype call coming in. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Figured you didn't want to hear like 40 seconds of Skype noise. But yeah, these pikes are doing some work on the flank. I'm going to try to keep them moving forward. And you can see my Silver Shield Swordsmen have run into this fight as well. That is my general unit. And that is a unit that can actually do some damage in there. Meanwhile, over here, my pikes getting caught a little bit on the flank by some hoplites, but these guys, for the most part, are going to get taken down. Yeah, you can see my pikes now starting to be aggressive, and they're going to start pushing through these guys here. And although their armor's initially going to save them, these mercenary hoplites are going to start dropping. Plus, I am getting a rear charge with these thorough spears, which is a nice thing about them. They are a very quick unit. So, in the woods there, overall, effectively wrapping these guys up. Right here, I am having some Persian hoplites on my flank of this unit. They're kind of caught out of position. That's a bad spot to be. But they're going to be able to wrap up this mercenary hoplite. You can see their numbers just dropping, and I'll be able to turn to fight those guys. Over here, once again, you can see these pikes just cutting their way through these guys. Pikes from the front, extremely dangerous. And over here, this blob fest going on as the Swaby Berserkers just kind of run in. And they're just going to kill things like crazy. I mean, once again, these are mainly hoplites. Not a great unit to be fighting off a unit like Berserkers. You can see those guys are just going to run through there. There's Sagittae Cavalry running around. Over here, some Saka Cataphracts charging in to the painted ones and those heroic nobles. The rest of these guys about to impale themselves on my pike line there. And yeah, just fighting pikes from the front is just a bad plan. So these guys are effectively stopped. There's one little horse here. He's just gonna waltz on through. Nothing's wrong. Just going for a stroll. But these guys are 100% effectively stopped. They're not doing really any damage at all to my men. Even over here, it looks like one guy got through, and we get to see him effectively finished off at sword point there. This one soldier of mine being incredibly aggressive. We'll see if he kills anyone else, or if he bites the dust himself. Looks like he's going to survive. And over here, those mercenary hoplites just melted away. Good counter to cavalry, not to that sword force in there. So all that's left are these British units here. My thorough spears charging into the rear there, and there's all this Sagittae Cavalry in here. And while they do not have a bonus versus infantry, these sword units are not very effective at taking out cavalry. And that's going to be the end of it there. They're going to turn around and try to punch instead of through the cavalry, through my pikes. Bad idea. And that is the end of them. So, not an incredible battle, but just a large-scale fight there. Some nomadic tribes in it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We can take a look at the statistics screen there. You can see our opponents deploying a lot more than we did. And that's simply because, once again, full cavalry army, although it was very effective, getting 970 kills. Spangle getting 877, and I got 1416 there. Our opponents did some damage, mostly the Iceni player there, just because he had sword units. Look at the upgrades on those guys. he had them all at rank 9. That's... I honestly don't think I would recommend doing that. He had no cavalry and no spears, but whatever floats your boat, buddy. He definitely did the best out of his allies in terms of combating our armies. However, still, just didn't have enough men. But once again, guys, thank you all for watching. Good game to our opponents, and I will see you all next time with more.